Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining. We'll just give a few more minutes for some more people to join, and then we can get started.
Hi Vijay, hi Shravan. Hi. We'll just wait for another 10 minutes to see like who will gather. From there
Yeah,
we
yeah.
can come.
Good afternoon. Sure.
Sure, we'll just wait. It might take some time to log in, right? So we'll wait. Anyways, hi everyone. Thanks for joining. Uh, we don't have much time, so we'll have a quick start on this. So we're going to have 1 hour session. We will let you know like what we are, who we are, what we are going to train on the Power BI, and what is the schedule for it. And we'll also give you insights on like what app we have to stay connected with the trainees or whoever the working professionals are. So altogether, you will get the right information, and let's see like how it goes. And you can mute yourself now. End of the session, we'll park some time so that you can ask your questions, and we are there to clear your doubts. Okay. Yes, Santosh, we can have it.
Okay, I hope screen is visible and I'm clearly audible. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for spending an hour out of your weekend to just listen to us in terms of what we are trying to offer here. And we hope this time would be productive and useful for you, right? So just as introduction, Kalki Tech, it's primarily a technology and training solutions company. So with the sole intent to basically train individuals and students to become industry ready and professionals who wants to turn over a new leaf, who wants to transition into the world of BI and data and other technology tracks. These are the people whom we are targeting to help them get industry ready skills and also learn from real world experiences through practical learning, right? And the team in itself, comprises, over 2 decades of experience, worked in different industries, various geographies, various domains, specializing in the area of primarily business intelligence, analytics, software development, and emerging technologies. So this entire team is there, dedicated, fully ready to support in terms of providing these hands-on trainings, mentorship, and all your project-based learning across until you get transitioned over to a proper professional in the technology of your choosing. Right. So typically, if you see us, the team in itself, we come from various different backgrounds. If you take myself, I come from primarily the BI area and also the data analytics area. So I worked in almost all the geographies, the parts of US, Europe, and also the Southeast Asia part, Singapore, and other markets as well. And my forte has been primarily business intelligence and data analytics, like I mentioned. And I've done multiple hats in terms of working as a developer, and then growing into a lead architect, and then also have a lot of pre-sales experience and taking care of delivery of several of these solutions for large scale enterprises, right? And so the entire team is made up of experiences like this, experienced professional like this who will be just dedicating their time to taking these training solutions and making the students enable with them with hands-on learning experience. Yeah, so like I mentioned, the mission is to basically just bridge the gap between what's abundantly available in terms of resources, but where they lack to fit into actual, job-related skills is the real-world experience or the practical hands-on experience. So on one hand, we have our end of supply in terms of skilled professionals, but not exactly meeting the real-world practical complexities that are required at a project area. And on the other side, for organizations, for companies, they have I would say unsatiable demand. Basically they have so much of demand that they're not able to finish their projects on time. It's running up their costs, it's overshooting their budgets, and they're finding it really, really hard to actually identify the right talent and then place them in the projects to make sure that their projects are also successful and they achieve the end goal what these projects originated for. So if you see, it's a real conundrum. On one side, you also have opportunities which are large, but on the other side, you also have people who are readily, take up these positions, but somewhere that gap is still there. It's not fitting with each other. That's where companies like us come in, who tries to bridge these gaps by taking these readily available professionals who are working, who are ready to turn over a new leaf and then shape themselves into the way the industry demands by gaining these practical experiences, real world experiences, and then fit into these several different opportunities that are available across the globe. And at least in this session, what we are primarily looking to target is the technology of Power BI. I'm sure pretty much everyone would have heard about Power BI who are either working industry professionals or at least in the phase of finishing your studies and then getting into the industry phase, like college grads, college students, and other folks. What we know is that Power BI is a tool. It's a very important tool, and it's used in multiple companies, and it's a very good technology to have on hand. Just like let's say Java or C++ or Python these days have become such a very common words in terms of people everywhere. Even if they are related to technology or not, they would have at least heard about it if they are into this education and other things. Power BI is also one such term these days, or at least within the scope of people who are related to working professionals or on the student community who wants to get into this mainstream industry. But all they know is just the word, and probably they could just connect it with some fancy charts and graphs and everything. But they don't have the underlying information of what the tool is about, why is it used, where does it fit in, and how it is going to be useful for the industry or for the businesses who use it, and what is it going to get you as a professional with a skill equipped on Power BI as well, right? So that's the basic premise of this discussion is going to be. And as part of this discussion, we'll see the background of Power BI and then where it came from and how it is fitting in. We will also cover a small portion of the demo on how to build things in Power BI and then what kind of things you will be able to build in Power BI and how it is going to make an impact in the place where you work or the place where you are expecting to work with them. Okay. As far as why KALKI TEC, like I explained in in the who we are sort of page, the entire team is primarily made up of industry experts from the data analytics field, whose bread and butter has been working on the BI area, business intelligence area, specializing on tools like Power BI, developing and implementing multiple projects for some of the largest companies in the world, with some of the biggest solutions that you could think of from a Power BI complexity perspective. So I wouldn't think of a better place where to have these experience, not just showing you what the tool can do, what are the different options and other things, but also share with you the practical learning experiences, the challenges that they faced during some of their implementation, and how they overcame those situations, and what are the things that you need to keep in mind when you're talking to another personal or individual who's going to evaluate you on how much knowledge you have on Power BI, or what sort of lingo, what sort of terminologies are more important or more critical here, and how it is you're going to use this and then use this as a leverage to just upskill your entire portfolio of skills that you acquire on this software space. So that's where I will leave it. And this company is not just limited to here; it's in India. We have signed on some global partnership in US as well with Explore partnership. So we are soon trying to enter into the space of North America and Canada region as well. On top of it, it's not just going to be the curated training that you're going to get. Continuous support is one important aspect, which I will, elaborate, and I'll show you a little demo on that as well, on how that support system is going to work when it comes to the training part. So the training part is not going to be like just one shot training activity done and then forget about it. It's going to be continuous support from thereafter, and that's going to be a big difference from my practical experiences and the other trainings that I've seen in the past. So I will show you a glimpse of how that looks as well and how it's going to be beneficial to you. Right. So before I get on to the Power BI aspect of it, maybe just for the interest of audience, if I understand, I'm not sure how many of you are already from BI background or data analytics background. If you are, then probably it's going to be repetitive for you. But for the folks who are joining new, who is completely unaware of Power BI as a technology, but are interested to just do their upskilling, for them this is very important on where this sort of originates from. So Power BI is essentially a business intelligence software tool, right? And that's how I would put it. The primary function is to cater and enable, curated reports, dashboards, and important business analytical information that serves the end organization, right? So, what are the questions that businesses have? All the questions that businesses have. The intent is to just serve those questions through proper, clear, curated, accurate answers with the help of a tool like Power BI, which makes it intuitive, interactive, and then very structured in terms of the information that they are seeking, so that at the end of the day they can get better clarity on things, on how their business is running, and also how they're able to take decisions based on the information that they see. So it all fits within the common framework or like common topic of business intelligence. In the world, Power BI is not the only business intelligence tool. There are, say, hundreds of it, if not more. And it's not the first one either. Power BI is, I would say, relatively newer, but probably the most popular and the most advanced of all the tools that are available today from an analytics point of view, right? In a simple sense, business intelligence, if you take it as as a concept, it's the ability to basically just basically just sort of curate all the information and basically just bring all the data that you have inside your organization, whether it's your sales data, finance data, HR data, whatever it is, right? So you all bring that into one place, and then you clean it, you curate it, and then make it ready so that you can actually start making some reports on top of it and start taking, creating some insights on top of that information. So it helps you to basically organize that raw content that's available everywhere in your databases, and then give it a structure, and then create those insights, and then deliver it in the easiest mechanism possible. It could be in the form of a simple report, it could be in the form of a simple dashboard, or it could even be in the form of a simple SMS or just a notification on an app. It could be any of those forms, or even you could just expose that as an service, as a data service, so that another application, a custom application, can utilize that and then deliver it in the way, shape, or form that you desire, right? And like I mentioned, it's not the Power BI is not the only tool for this. There are hundreds of tools, but Power BI is probably the most popular right now and the most heavily used. And it's also probably the one that has the most advanced feature as well. Right. So what's the benefit of doing all this, right? I mean, okay, fine, you're creating some reports, you're creating some dashboards and other things, but why would organizations want to invest in this? Why would organizations want to create these things? Because we live in a data driven world, right? Nobody takes business decisions today based on a hunch or based on from learning or as a practice. Nobody does business like that. If you do like that, you cannot survive it. Even if you have a small tea shop, It's not enough that, yesterday I made 1,000 rupees sale, so today also I will make 1,000 rupees sale. There's no guarantee like that, right? So in order for you to arrive at a decision, you need some data for it. And not just one data point, but you need several data points over a period of some time. So that means you need to first start collecting the data. Every place will have data, right? So that means it's more an effort of actually organizing that information so that it becomes easy for us to consume and transform. Transform and consume, so that we get quick insights that we will generally not notice, or like will be hard to notice. So that's the most important part. So it helps you identify these sort of hidden trends and patterns, especially when we talk about large organizations, right? So in small places, yes, probably you can just simply do it with an Excel sheet. But in larger organizations, it's not easy to just do it like that. So that's where you have these BI systems, databases, and other things, tools like Power BI comes into the picture. And yeah, finally, real time insights as well. It means there's a saying in this BI world that um, if I ask for a report today, it means I needed that report yesterday. And if I'm going to get that report, let's say 2 days later, then I don't need, I mean, 2 days later, that report is not even relevant to me because I need some information right now because I need to take some decision right now. If you are going to give me the decision only 1 week later, then I lose the ability to take the decision now, and I'm missing out on an opportunity where I can take that decision and I can, benefit the organization using that, decision. So if that information or if that insight is going to come to me 1 week later, then 1 week later, even if it's 100% accurate, that information is useless, right? Because that opportunity for me to take that decision is already gone, right? And that's where real-time insights and real-time dashboards become, play a very major critical role. If I have to take for an example, let's take Uber as an example, right? So in Uber, you will have people sitting in the command center and then trying to identify, which place has more demand, which place has less demand, so that they could divert, available cabs from places where less demand is happening to places with, a lot of demand. All of this is happening in real time, right? So they're able to see in the chart how many orders are coming in from which location, how many cabs are readily available in which location, and somewhere they need to connect the dots, right? So if they don't get that information of how much supply or how much cab is available on one location, not right now, but then at the end of the day, right? Um, what is the point of getting that information at the end of the day? Because at 11 a.m. in the morning, there was some peak demand, some cricket match or something that happened, and then then suddenly there were a lot of cab requests. At that point in time, if that information was available, they could have rerouted those cabs to cater to that demand, right? But there is no point of getting that information even 1 hour late or 2 hour late, right? Because by that time, that opportunity where people were creating demand for like requesting cabs is already gone because people will not wait for it and they would have taken other modes of transport and then just dispersed off, right? So that's where this real-time kind of insights and dashboards becomes very, very important. And Power BI has the capability to support that kind of reporting as well, right? So when we talk about Power BI specifically, the reason why this tool became very popular and the reason why this tool has become very, very important in pretty much all of the organizations we have today is because one, it's very, very easy to use, very, very easy to see in the eye. The dashboarding concept, or this I would say BI tool concept in itself has gone through a tremendous amount of journey over the past 30-40 years. So if I suppose give you the same Power BI tool, Power BI was introduced somewhere between 2014, 2015 is when it hit the market. I'm sure there were earlier versions before that, but generally speaking, it came around that time frame where it started penetrating. If I give you the version of 2015 Power BI tool today, you would see it is very dated. Like it will be difficult to use. You will not understand, the importance or impact of it, right? But then, back then, it was when it was introduced, it was considered so much advanced or so much, easy compared to the tools or the options they had on the BI front, back in those days. So back in those days, in 2014 and 2015, only an IT software developer with a SQL knowledge was able to, use a BI tool. Nobody else. So if you are someone who's a data analyst, and then you want a particular report that you want to target for doing a marketing campaign later this week, you need to place that request 3 months ahead, 5 months ahead, because that's how much how many requests that these IT teams would receive, these BI teams would receive. So they have to put those things in backlog, and they have to prioritize in order for the report to get ready at the right time, so you can actually do your marketing, you can actually do your planning after you see the insights from the report, right? So it needed to be planned so far ahead. And if you want to create some report today, you need to wait for like 3 months or 4 months, depending on how much backlog the team has. And that's just the version one of it, right? So if you want another iteration, then you wait for another 2 months or 3 months. So it was very complex. Operationally, it was very difficult. It needed a lot of planning. So they were always, forming fixed reports, and not a lot of flexibility was, provided to all the users. So what ended up happening, pretty much all of the entire team relied on doing Excel, pivot charts, and other things is what their bread and butter was. Now, when Power BI came into picture, they basically, put sort of steroids on Excel, right? So it's essentially the same engine which has been upgraded and then advanced with a lot of new feature functionalities which are more aligned to the business intelligence architecture rather than simple Excel driven, formats or Excel file formats. So that created a big wave among the BI world and then the reporting world, and then it started picking up steam in terms of popularity. So it came up with a new enhanced way of just doing click, drag, and drop of doing all your dashboards in a very, very intuitive and then user friendly way. It integrated real time analytics back, immediately soon after. And then pretty much the integration with any of your enterprise tools, became easy with using a tool like Power BI. It was highly scalable. That's the most important thing. Excels were always having problem with limitations in terms of how much data it can handle. 65,000 rows, and then if it goes more than that, your whole Excel would crash. And then one small, letter mismatch somewhere, then the whole Excel would crash. So it had a lot of challenges and difficulties, like that. All of these things Power BI solved, and it became stable, and it was able to work with large data sets, even billions and billions of rows. So all of this created a wave in the industry, and then created huge demand for Power BI as an enterprise tool. So then naturally, when the tool is picked up, when the popularity is picked up, then obviously the skills required to work on Power BI is also getting picked up. So as it stands today, till today, it is the most advanced, or probably the most advanced, and it's the most popular BI tool out there in the market. So it always has stronger growth opportunities, be it specializing in Power BI as a tool, as your skill set, or even if you are a simple business guy, which means like you're a data analyst or you're in some marketing department or some other department, having Power BI in your skill set also puts you in a makes you stand out from the group, that you have an additional skill set, right? So Power BI in itself, what does it have? Which is very important and unique. Um, it supports multiple data sources, so that means any of the enterprise systems that your organization might have, Power BI already probably has a connector for it. So you don't need to think about, oh, how I'm going to bring my data from my XYZ system into Power BI to do my analysis. No, the connector would always be there. Or on top of it, if it's still that much unique, it's a very custom made system by your organization, then you can build a connector for it through the APIs. a very simple drag and drop interfaces, very easy way to create filters and slicers and this interactive report capabilities and other things. So that makes it prime for Power BI as a tool, not just to be restricted to probably only engineering graduates or people who only know math, or people who are only an expert in SQL can work on Power BI. No such limitation, right? As a tool, Power BI is capable of serving pretty much anyone with a basic information of, like basic knowledge of working on a computer and then some information on looking at data in an Excel sheet, right? So if somebody can understand tables in an Excel, they can work with Power BI. As simple as that. You don't need to be a graduate on engineering or data analytics area or an expert in SQL. None of that. Yes, if you have all those skills, then it makes your ability to go farther beyond on what the Power BI capability is as well. But to begin with, it can act as a supporting feature. It can play a supporting role from a learner perspective. It can act as a supporting role that okay, I also know Power BI. I can do my data analysis on Power BI. I don't need to go and ask for a report to be developed by someone else to help answer my business questions. So that problem it can solve by being a simple a novice or a beginner at the Power BI level. And then if you talk about business analysts or business owners or managers, they can effectively use it on their own to perform their own analysis of their performance, their team performance, or their product performance, all of that, within the scope of their domain. And they can look at their data. They know how to, drag and drop, slice and dice, and do all of those things. And they can actually effectively use Power BI to actually take advantage of all the insights that it provides. Then final layer, someone who wants to become a dedicated BI developer or a BI architect or a BI solution architect, they can take that path where obviously they would not just need Power BI there. They will have to also upskill themselves with SQL knowledge and also some solution architecture side of things. That comes with the territory. If you are thinking of going into that direction, then Power BI is the starting step for it. Once you learn Power BI, then obviously those areas also comes with that angle, learning SQL and other things and all. The more you learn, the more the bigger the expert you become, and then you are ready to basically own and build and deliver systems or solutions of scale using Power BI as the tool of choice, serving a large number of users across the globe. So all those can be done as well. So if you see the demography of the user of Power BI is very diverse. I'm talking about to the creation angle. I'm not even talking about consumer angle. Right? As a consumer, anybody can be a consumer, right? There's no profile for it. Only these kind of people can get benefited from Power BI. No, nothing like that. As an end consumer, like anybody can use the reports that are generated out of Power BI. It's very simple, intuitive and interactive reports and dashboards that you end up using. But I'm talking from a creator perspective as well. The profile of a user is very different, is very diverse. It's not restricted to only, okay, I need to have basic fundamentals of Python, I need to have basic fundamentals of Java, only then you can use Power BI. No, nothing like that. Right? So everybody can fit into the role of their choosing of where their strengths lie. Yeah. In the simple mechanism, the architecture of Power BI in itself, it has, I would say, three components. One is the Power BI desktop, which is software, which you will have to install in your machines. Could be a laptop, desktop, whatever it is. But that's where the bulk of the heavy lifting of the Power BI solution happens. So you can install it. It's like installing Microsoft Office for your Excel and your PowerPoint and other things. So you use that software to build your reports and build your analysis and other things. And then when it comes to distributing and then sharing it to a large group of users, that's when this concept of Power BI service comes in. because all the content that you're building using Power BI Desktop will be eventually pushed to this Power BI service, which is cloud-based, which will sit on Azure, and that's owned by Microsoft. And so from there you will basically take care of collaborating and then sharing that report or the dashboard with large amount of user base across your organizations wherever they are. And then finally, there's this Power BI mobile part, which is the third component, which is basically another way of consuming this content. So typically, how would they consume the content? They would just go to the browser, they would use the link, they will open the reports and dashboards, they will do all the slice and dice and everything, and then they'll see the data, and then they'll take some decisions, and then all good, right? But then if they want to consume the same content over mobile, then they can use that using the Power BI mobile option. And the same content can be delivered directly onto your mobile devices as well. Within a click of button, you get access to your dashboards and reports and everything. Yeah. Okay. Now I've spoken a lot of theory, a lot of history, and a lot of background about Power BI in general. Now I just want to get to the actual tool in itself, right? Like how does the tool look, and then what is it that we are going to cover as part of the training exercise? What are the different gamuts of information that you would see there, with a small little demo building as well on how the dashboard comes into life. Yeah. So we'll use one small data set that we pulled from online. We can use that as our data source. The idea is basically to track the sales performance and to get some insights about the products, and then see let's see if we can take some decisions out of it, right? So give me a second. Let me reshare my screen. Okay. I hope everyone are able to see my screen now. Okay. If you're not able to see my screen, just give me a shout out. But I'm just assuming that everyone can see the Power BI screen. Okay. Yeah. Typically, your landing page in Power BI, tool will appear like this. Before that, let me just mention, this is Power BI Desktop. Okay. So it's a tool which you can download from, Microsoft website. It's free to download and use. It has no license restriction, so you can basically just download it from online and you can install it in your PC. Doesn't matter whether it is Windows or Mac. You either need Windows or Mac to actually use this tool. You cannot operate on other Linux and other things. So this is the Windows version of it. Obviously, once you've installed it, this is the basic screen how it would look like, right? And there are several different options that you would see here. What's probably immediately striking for you is just this options on top, right? So it all looks, probably if you've used Excel heavily, you would notice that all these options are very very similar to what you would see on a Excel file or on a PowerPoint presentation and other things. Right? Reason being, it's the same family of product, right? It's also now integrated into this Microsoft Office family. That's the direction that Microsoft is going with Power BI. So if you have even Microsoft 365 subscription, there's likelihood that Power BI can also come with it in future. right? But right now, at least the software in itself, the desktop software in itself is free for you to use. Okay. So with Power BI, it's always a simple three-step process, right? First thing is you connect to data. Second thing is you transform the data. Third thing is you build your solution or you build your visualization. And then once you've built your visualizations, then you basically just publish and share. That's the last step. Okay. So obviously, for us to do any of those steps, the first part is the connection of data, right? So when we want to connect it, if you see this get data portion, you would see there is a bunch of connectors available, right? So any of these connectors would be readily available when the moment you install the Power BI desktop, and then it will be free for you to use. Just hold on one moment. Okay, sorry. I hope I'm still audible. The list of connectors that you see here are basically connectors that are available for any of your enterprise systems. You would see, if you want Oracle, if you want MongoDB, if you want big data, if you want Amazon. So anything that you type, you would, usually get the connectors readily available for it. Right? So you can connect to any of those, data sources and you can start your analysis right away. And it's also, organized and segmented in a, separate way like this. So you have all your file-based data sources like your Excel, CSV, JSON, and other things available here. And then your databases, your enterprise DBs, all of those things are organized here. And then Fabric, you want to connect your Power BI Power Platform, and then your Azure.
I think someone is asking questions. Sorry to interrupt you, Santosh. Please go ahead. Anyone has any question? Hello? Am I audible? Okay.
Yeah, Kishore, you are audible.
Yeah. Okay. Now someone said Santosh, so thought of asking some question. Let's go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so in this demo, we're just going to simply use an Excel workbook or an Excel file. Right? So it's an e-commerce, file that we have. And I just picked up that file, right? So it's a single sheet file. And before that, let me just show the file as well, right? So this is our data set. Okay, so this is what we have. Yeah, so this is what we are trying to analyze. So I need to share my Excel separately. Give me a second. Okay, So I think you can see here on the preview tab, you see all the data that is coming from this first sheet, right? Order sheet. That's the only sheet that we're going to mute. Okay. So before that, let me just share you the Excel that we're going to look at it as well. Okay, sorry. I think Navya, I think you have a question, right? You have a question that was similar to Microsoft 365. Can you explain that again? You can unmute yourself.
Uh, Good evening. So this is Navya. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, thank you. So this is a good opportunity of the free demo session of this Power BI, and it's good to know the explanation regarding this. And myself as a HR right now, I'm working as a HR professional, and I'm interested into this business analyst like Power BI like that. I just have a question like, yeah, this Power BI desktop is similar to kind of Microsoft Suite. Is that a similar kind of?
So if I understood your question correctly, you're asking whether it is similar to Microsoft 365 or
Yes.
yeah. So right now, what's happening? Power BI is a separate tool, functionally speaking. So if you take Microsoft 365, there are a lot of tools that are being integrated into the same family, right? So it's Microsoft 365 in itself is not a separate tool. So it's basically a name that was given to a lot of these productivity tools that Microsoft offers, starting from your Microsoft Office, right? Office usually comes with Excel, Word, PowerPoint, and MS Access, if I'm not wrong, and some others, right? Um, Over the years, Microsoft has largely pushed Power BI into the same bracket as well. When Power BI originated, it was a purely business analytics tool, which was part of this feature of or like this portfolio of Microsoft Analytics products, which had Microsoft SSAS, SSRS, and other things, which was primarily leaning towards the BI area functionally, business intelligence area functionally. But since Power BI has become so popular that even novice non-technical users have started using it, they've increasingly pushed Power BI more and more towards this Microsoft 365 suite of products, which means you will basically have a free access to the tool in itself. It can give you some features of Power BI that's packaged into this 365 package that Microsoft offers. And if you ask me, you don't necessarily need 365 to use Microsoft Power BI. You can just simply download the desktop file from online, and you can just directly use the new PC. Where you would need additional features and functionalities is when you want to publish the content that you're creating using Power BI, and then you want to share it with a larger user group. That's when Power BI services comes in, and Power BI service requires an enterprise license at some level, so it cannot be just done through your own personal ID. Your organization needs to have a Power BI license, at least the basic pro license for it. Only using that you will be able to share the content with a larger user. Unlike your let's say your PowerPoint file or your Excel file, what you would typically do is attach that file in an email or put it in a shared drive and then share it with another user, right? And when they open, they would also have the Microsoft Office software installed on their system, so they can open the file and they can see. That's how the distribution happens. Whereas in Power BI, the file will not get distributed typically like that. I mean, technically, you can still do it, meaning the Power BI file that you created, you can end up, putting it in a shared drive or in a folder, or you can just zip it and, send it on an email to someone. But the person who receives it, they also need to have the Power BI desktop software installed. for them to open it and then see the same analysis that you did. It's a little cumbersome, and almost 90% of the cases, the sharing of the solutions will not happen that way. They will use Power BI service for it.
Fine. Okay. Yes.
So
Thank
in simple terms, so basically this is like, this is a productivity suite when it comes to Microsoft 365. It's just a productivity suite, but Power BI is entirely used for, as Santosh said, so it is entirely used for the business intelligence and doing some analytics on it. Okay, so what you do with Power BI suite is like you're going to do a kind of emailing, you go to do a documentation, or do some meetings or the collaborations. But Power BI is something, we do a data analysis on it, and we create some dashboards and reporting stuff for the business users. Okay. And Microsoft
Yeah.
365, you are very familiar with the Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Teams, OneDrive, you're going to have everything is there. But in Power BI, specifically, you'll have only the Power BI desktop, which is a free version where you can download and do your development job there. And Power BI service is a place where you publish your reports, and it is going to be an endpoint or a kind of point for the other business users to look at their statistics. Also, you can do it in a mobile as well. Okay. Simply, you create an Excel with some sales data. You can discuss with your team. You can find some PowerPoint presentation and send a report in an Outlook is the one which you can do it in Microsoft 365. But Power BI is something, a real-time example, real-time system, which, actually connects with some databases. It will create some interactive, sales dashboards, and they create the trends out of it, the KPIs, and they share it to the management in a visualization manner. Okay.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Yep. Please go.
Okay, carry on. Okay, I wanted to share the screen first. Okay. I hope you're able to see the Excel, what I'm sharing now. So this is a simple Excel that I'm going to use to perform the analysis from our side. And let's now bring this Excel into the Power BI desktop. Yeah. Okay, then I will go to my Power BI file. I'm going to use Excel workbook and using this file. And I have two sheets in that file, but I'm only going to use the first one, orders one. I'm not going to do anything else, right? So here you can see order ID, order date, all these things. So it's basically giving you the snapshot of the data that it sees inside the file, right? So it's in the preview tab, it's only going to give you a little bit, a small little preview of it, not all the rows, right? So typically this is the connectivity part, right? So the connection happens. Once the connection happens, in almost 90% of the cases, we are not going to get clean data. So we might have to do some transformations. We might have to do some cleanup of the work, cleanup of the data that we are trying to bring in, right? So before we actually load the data, let's do that step of doing the cleanup. So it's typically called transform data, right? Transforming the data into the way, shape, and form that we desire. So I click on transform data. So then it brings me to this tab called editor, Power Query Editor. So this is typically called Power Query Editor. So here you have a plethora of options for you to choose from in terms of how you want to manipulate or how you want to transform this data and all. Okay. So let's do some simple steps. First thing is I'm going to first do a validation of all the different values that I have inside my file and see if everything looks clean, right? And so I'm looking at the file here, everything looks all right. But I know that there was a mistake in the file, at least in the city. So if I click the city drop down, you can see here there is a typo on this city name called Bengaluru, right? So there
Uh,
is two Bangalore.
I'm sorry, we are not able to see the Excel file. We are able to see.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks for raising it. Okay, I'll start from the beginning. So once I clicked on transform data, I hope now you're able to see the screen, right?
Yes. Now it is up. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so this screen, this is what you're able to see. So this tab is called Power Query Editor on top, right? And here you have a plethora of options for you to pick and choose from in terms of how you want to manipulate the data, right? So I'm first basically checking all the fields that I have inside this file to see if it's in the proper shape and form that I require, right? So it seems okay. But I know for a fact that in the Excel, I saw there was a typo. So if you see the city of Bangalore, so there are some occurrences where the spelling is incorrect, right? Now, typically what happens when you actually plot this into a graph is, now this Bangalore will give me one graph, one bar, and then this Bangalore will give me another bar. These two data points will not add up together. That's a complication that I would face. Now, I want that complication to be fixed here. So what I can quickly do is I can just do this. I need to select the city and I can choose replace values from the top, and whatever that I found, now I can just replace it. Hmm. So there is a cleanup activity that I've done. So ideally now if I see, I should see, I mean that older incorrect Bengaluru has actually gone away. Right? Then what I would need is typically some date related fields as well. I have my order date, and ideally I would want my year and month and other things to be separately calculated as well, to make my analysis a little easier. So I can do some transformations around that. So I can go to order date, and I can do transform. Before that, let me just duplicate this first because it will come in as a new column. Let me call this here. And I do a right click and I say transform. And I say year, and then I can make this into a year. Yeah. Then same way, what I can do, I can call it month. We can transform. And I can want to change it into name of the month. I don't want the month to be exact, but I just want the name of the month here. I can just add fields like these, and I have date. Probably I can add one more. I can do quarter. You can transform this into quarter as well. And here, instead of calling it 1, 2, 3, I can do 1 means Q1. Yeah, so now it's showing the number value, because it was in numbers, it assumed that it's a numerical value. So that means I need to first change the data type for this from whole number. change it to text. Then I can replace one means Q1. And then 2 is Q2. And 3 is Q3. And 4 is Q4. Yeah. So as you see here, every transformation step that I do gets recorded in this applied steps option, right? So it means it's sequential. It will do step number 1, step number 2, step number 3, so on and so forth, right? And let me make few more changes as well. Here, this should not typically be a number. It should be just a regular text format because we'll not be adding this value up anywhere, adding or summarizing these values up anywhere. Right? So then what else do we have? Okay, there's one customer rating, and you can see here that is also identified as a numerical figure. So it should not be a numerical field. It's a rating system, so you will not add 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 anywhere. It should be typically an attribute. So that should also be a text field. And then finally, we have order date. And I think this is the date field. Should be okay. Yeah, I think we are good now. So I'm happy with all the transformations that I did. Then I will close and apply. And when I say close and apply, you can see here it's loading the data. It's applying all the steps, all the transformation steps that we did. Okay. I hope you are still able to see the Power BI screen. Can someone confirm?
Yes,
Okay.
from my end.
Okay.
Yes,
Fine.
it is on.
Right. Cool. Fine. Now you would see the data that we brought in is available here on this data tab, right? And it's categorized by different columns and different fields. And you would also quickly see Power BI also tries to intelligently show you what are the numerical fields versus what are the text fields, so that you know which one to do your calculation on and which ones you can just directly start displaying, right? So from here it becomes very, very easy to create your visuals. As a practice, what you would typically do is to create some DAX, basically just create your KPIs, or I would say measures. In Power BI technologies you call it measures, right? You would typically try doing your measures explicitly. Internally also Power BI can do its own thing, but explicitly it's a good practice to have it. But what I would suggest or recommend is let's just try to start with some business questions, right? Like let's try to answer some questions. Now let's assume that we want to figure out which city is generating the most highest revenue, right? For that, what you need to do, you're not even going into the measure building phase, right? You're just simply just looking at the page and the dashboard. Oh, sorry, the canvas. So this is your open canvas where you will start building your visuals. Okay. So what you can do is you need to select city and you need to select your net sales. Okay. So when I tried putting city, it automatically tried to pick a visualization, which is this map visualization, because it understands, okay, someone is asking for city, so then let me put it in a map. But the map visualization is not connected, is not enabled on this particular file. So let's not go with map visualization. We'll just simply go for a bar chart. Right? So quickly you can see without doing any complex calculation, logic building, and other things and all. You just simply put up two fields, city and your net sales, and then your bar chart appear, right? So in this, you can very quickly make out. Okay, you by order of sequence, you would see that Delhi is actually creating the most sales for you. Right? So what if I want to now see it by different years or different months or different quarters, right? So then I can just quickly add something called a I can simply add something called a slicer, right? It's sort of acting like a filter for you, right? And you put that slicer and then you put the year field that we created here, or there's only two values in here. Let's just put there's some month field that you put, right? Okay, month. We'll keep it as month. Then you just go to your tab, to your formatting, and instead of vertical, let's just make this like make it like a drop down. So you have only one value that you can select at a time, right? So then naturally, then these two visuals in Power BI is automatically interconnected. So if you now want to filter the data only for, let's say, February, you can see quickly the graph changed. Now it's no more Delhi. It's Bhubaneswar. Right? So it becomes very, very easy, intuitive, and very interactive right from the word get go. Right. So similarly, you can continue to add more visuals to populate your dashboard. Then let's see what is the source of all these orders, right? Like from where did you get all these orders from? So for that, I need two information. So let me always start with this. So I have my platform and I have my net sales, right? So I have a total of X amount coming from mobile app versus website. But if I want to quickly see a percentage conversion of it, right? Right now, these are whole numbers. If I want to see a percentage conversion of it, I can quickly click on a pie chart or a donut chart for it, right? So very quickly, it gave me a split that 68% of my sales is coming actually from the mobile app, and only 32.5% is coming from my website. Then with every visual, if I go to my formatting option, I have tons of formatting that I can, that I can work with, and now I can adjust it. So if I, let's say, want to bring this one to bottom center to make it a little bit more even, I can do that. Right? So depending on your business question, you can just continue to build, any of these, options that you want. And you have plenty of visualizations that you can pick from, starting from your line graph. For example, you want to, let's say, create another visual. I will put my date. Just give me a second. Order date. And I will put my sales. And if I plot it into a line graph, so I can very quickly see the trend of my sales as well based on date. So initially it was a little slow, and very quickly in Jan 2025 picked up steam, and especially during the the first 2 weeks of Jan, it had a big spike, And again, here and there in between, there was a big spike out of January, largely because of, let's say, some holiday season or whatever it is. So these are the kind of insights that you are looking for, right? In terms of why these kind of spikes are happening, or why there is a dip or a low that's happening, right? So you can quickly put up visuals like these. So you can create your visuals like these. You can just have interactive slicers that you have on top. And very similar to Excel, you can add as many pages as you want as well. So it's not just restricted to one page. You can just create multiple pages, and you can just go on and continue to create your visuals as you please. Yeah. Then what also happens functionally in Power BI is it also comes with certain native AI influenced visuals as well. Say, for example, this has been my, let me just reorganize this for a bit. Okay. So now I can pick this one called a narrative. Okay. And I click on custom. So this is a native Power BI provided visual, which is trying to understand your whole data set, and it will come up with its own insights. Okay. So here you can see it already is summarizing net sales trended up, resulting in 556% increase between Jan 1st to Jan 31st. It's because of the filter which is selected. Okay. Now, if I, let's say, move this filter to April, then you can see the analysis also changed. The sum of net sales trended down, resulting in 86% decrease between April 1st and April 30th. And mobile app accounted for 62%. And we can also enhance it by saying, let's say, customer segment. If I want to understand which customer segment actually, gave me more sales in this month. Contributor. And what we can do here is click on value, and you can ask question. Which customer segment provided more net sales? Okay. So you can basically just write it like this. Contributed more net sales in this month. Right? So here this word business owner is a dynamic value, and these are basically text that you basically wrote, right? So it's like very much doing a write-up of your own PowerPoint files, right? Basically explaining business outcomes or key stuff that happened for your data. You can just articulate it like this with the help of AI influenced visuals like these. So now if I choose from April to February, still shows business owner. Maybe January just changed. Okay, so looks like in this data, business owner is probably where the most of the sales are being contributed from. Right. So this is one example of that. So similarly, you have other visuals as well. For example, this decomposition tree. I'll use this. So let's say I want to do my analysis for net sales, right? And I want to do this analysis, and I want to explain the influence, or the where this net sales is coming from. And I will explain it, let's say, by category, month, maybe city, and product. So the moment I explain all these fields in this explain by section, and if I click on this one, and I want to choose high value in this case. So here you can see the highest of sales came from electronics. Right. Then furthermore, if I want to do a low value here, and out of electronics, probably November is my least selling month. It's not doing that well. And from November, I want to see highest. In that November, looks like LED monitor light which sold the most. So like this, you can just basically play around and then say high low, something like that, and basically just gives you a path of the journey to net sales. So you can add as many columns as you want in explain tab, and it just nicely puts it into a visual like this, and then helps you understand that data point as well. Very similarly, let's say I put another chart, and then we did category, right? Category and say net sales. Now in sports section, I can also ask Power BI to explain where find where this distribution is different. And it will take few minutes, and it will try to understand the data, and then it will give you a whole analysis of comparing the proportions as well for the distribution. Right. Similarly, in let's say your trend. Yeah, so here I am looking at the low point, at a dip, and I will explain the decrease. And it will give me a waterfall chart, and then it will help me understand where the decrease of, where the dip has come from. And what it's analyzing is UPI accounted for the majority of the decrease among payment mode. And in some of net sales, working professional has decreased by so much. So all these are AI influenced visuals that just comes naturally out of the box from Power BI. Yeah. So this is a very, very simple over the top a vanilla dashboard building that you can do without any knowledge of SQL or any of the technical stuff that goes behind it, right? So this is what the tool is capable of. It's like functioning very well like a PowerPoint or a interval analysis as well. And then obviously, once you go up the maturity level, once you go up, take the complexity level a little bit higher, then it will get you to all these different data modeling aspects of it, data transformation, complex data transformation, connecting it into multiple different sources, and then you start creating your measures using DAX and other things. All of these will follow suit. Then once you finalize your content, then you basically just publish everything. And then it gets saved into a .pbix file. And then I'm connected to my service. And then I can publish this into my workspace. Once it goes there, you can go to powerbi.com, and you will be able to consume your content there directly. So this is the dashboard that you created. Okay, so that's the bit that I wanted to show from a dashboard development perspective. I hope this was useful. Now, over and above what we did at the Power BI desktop, there are several different options that are there inside the Power BI services as well, which you would get to see, once you take up the course fully. But before that, what's happening after you finish the course, right? What's happening after you do the training material? And then once you're enabled with actual Power BI knowledge, then what you can do is, okay, I realized I probably did not share my screen of the browser.
We can see the browser now.
You see the browser, right? Okay.
Yeah, we are able to see the browser.
Able to see the browser now.
Okay, you're able to see the browser now. Okay. Just give me 1 second. Okay, I hope you are able to see the dashboard on the Power BI services like this. This is the page that we created, page 1 and page 2, right? So over and above that, what we wanted to share is also the after training support, right? The training content that you will all go through, and then once you finish, this is a portal that's completely proprietary for Kalki Tech, and they will basically just enable this portal for you. And using this portal, you could just come in and basically see all of your Power BI materials that you wanted to see here. Kishore, can you help me with that user login? What is the login name?
It's KALKI TEC 2025
2025, right? Okay.
@gmail.com. Welcome. Yeah.
Okay. So this is an app that you would have access to, and you could see all the latest Power BI updates that you get, on a daily basis. So this is all AI powered. So you will constantly get updates on what's the latest development that is happening on the Power BI, tool and the technology front. Then, if you go to your Q&A, these Q&A will have curated list of training questions that are related to Power BI, which will be refreshed on a daily basis. And it's like a bite-sized information that you can just come and have access to, and then keep your learnings fresh. in terms of all these small informations and small questions that are getting answered, that are getting populated and answered on a daily basis, right? So suddenly, you just want to remind of what's a direct query mode. If you just see that question, you click on it, you get the answer, and then it just registers in your mind a little better. And then you have quizzes that you can take. So you could basically come and do your own quizzes as well. And then you can answer these questions and then see your score in terms of how you're performing, and then you can just continue to take it on a daily basis and then improve your learnings over there as well. Yeah, so then here, if you, let's say, for example, you choose a wrong answer, it also gives you a right answer as well, right? Or with the explanation. And then you have this ask tab where you can basically post a question to our team, right? Any questions that you might have that you want an answer to. So when that question is posted, in due course, our team will look at the question, and then they will also provide the answers right then and there. So all the questions that you post will get into this feed, and then you will be able to see all the answers for it. And then there's videos tab. So every day's training content will get recorded here, and it will be put in YouTube, and all those YouTube links will be shared over here as well. So you in one place you have access to all the recordings that we have for the training that we provided. And then finally, tasks. These are basically just curated activities that we provide that you can try out for your practice. For example, dashboard creation, HR employee roster, sales overview dashboard. So we provide you with a use case, with a data set, with all the tables and matrices that you need to create, all of those things. So you can use this for your practice exercise for creation of your Power BI dashboards as well. Yeah. And then finally, very, very impactful, useful activity, useful feature that you have. You can basically, let's say you have a topic that you want to revisit, or you have a doubt, you need an explanation for it. You could just post your query and book a session with us. And based on our availability, we can pick that up. We can pick up those sessions, and we could just give you the clarification in those sessions as well. So that's the option for book session. So all these will be your post-support activities, which is very, very unique, which you typically not get from any of the other training courses that you have outside. Very impactful, and highly, highly useful as a student enrollee here. So yeah, I think this puts us very unique, very separate from all the other vendors out there who can give you the training content like this. But yeah, just think this through before you take a decision. So this is the last bit that I wanted to show you before I handed over the floor to Kishore. And yeah, Kishore, you can just take it up.
You can stay on the same PPT, the last slide. I'll talk about. Guys, you can come up with any questions if you have, but still before that. So what we are trying to tell you is like it is a 30-day plan. It might be a weekend or it might be a weekday. And this is for any upskill guy or who is looking for a job and who wants to train on this particular Power BI. We are there to help you out. And just to sum it up, the entire scenario, it's not like 30 days we're going to train you and we will leave you at all. So what we are planning to do is like whoever gets trained with us, we have already done some 2 batches of training. So around 21 people who are actually in the same application. It is just a free of cost, so you can actually access it. We're going to generate all the email IDs for it, all the login credentials. So you can log into the app, and whenever you want any sessions, if you have any questions, if you want to interact with the mentors, or if you want to recheck on the the recorded sessions what we gave earlier, in one place you can have the access, and it is entirely free for lifetime. So any institute outside the market, like they are going to take some fee structure, and after 30 days or 25 days, like the disconnectivity will happen. But here it is not the case. So we will be connected with you, and we are there to support you. And if you are interested, you can actually opt for a certification program as well, wherein which we can assist you on it. And also, we are not giving an assurance, but we are from different companies working, and we can refer someone for a job if they're good at the Power BI. Okay. Yeah, that's all about. If you guys are interested, so you can you go to the next slide? I mean, this is the pricing we have put as of now. So you can see all the, the features or like whatever we are trying to give you. So we have an option to go with weekends or weekdays, and we'll give you an online training, and we'll give you a full access to the application. And at any time, we are there to, have a one-on-one doubt sessions to be cleared, and we'll provide you a digital certificate as well. So you can log into www.kalkitech.com. Make sure it is like it is not like TECH, it is TEC, and you can register yourself. It will ask you all, what technology you're looking for and what is the mode of training you are looking for, and when when you need it, whether it is a weekend or weekdays, right? So that's all from my end. Any questions from your end?
Yeah, I think someone has a question. I think it's Navya, right?
You should start this using these television. So, yeah, Navya, right? Navya, you can come up with your question. You there?
Yes,
Yourself.
actually, I have just put my question into chat. No problem. I'll just say it here. Like the Power BI, I mean, in business intelligence, it is a initial step for starting the career, and later the step involves like business analyst as upskilling, growing into career. Like getting the experience with the user stories and like other Snowflake, other softwares. Compared to that, business intelligence, the Power BI and all, SQL, those are the first steps. I mean, initial way of starting the career into business analyst.
Yes, of course. Yes, sure.
I'll take that a bit, Kishore. So, business analyst, business analytics is different, and business analyst is different. Just to make that distinction clear now. So, business analyst is someone who is having domain experience. Say, for example, in your case, HR related stuff. Probably you have experience in HR related process. So you will be an expert on that area, and a business analyst could be on any platform, right? So it's not necessarily restricted to business intelligence. So BI is one department or one function within the IT organization. There are several other you know applications and softwares that are used inside an organization, right? So for HR, you have Workday, and then you have PeopleSoft and other applications somehow. So a business analyst could sit anywhere within that scheme of things. Where Power BI comes into play is to one as a business analyst have it as an additional skill set to understand some underlying data for you to take decisions on what should go into an application,
Fine.
or could become a functional business analyst for a BI space, for basically data on. HR will have their own analytics team, right? So for that HR analytics team, they would need a BA or a business
Yes.
analyst. So that fits hand in glove with this solution. So over
Fine.
there, Power BI will become very, very critical and very, very useful.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, fine. I think pretty much we took a long time. Okay, we'll close it. Hope you guys have our WhatsApp numbers or contact, the email IDs or, the website address, right?
Yeah.
So you guys can
Feel free
register.
to reach us through WhatsApp. Just put in your inquiries. We'll be happy to address any further questions for you. We'll be starting our batch pretty soon. And then we'll keep you all posted.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
joining.
everyone. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Yeah.